Meet Rob Nelson, talk show host.
Because you got the 70s thing going there. I got someone's underwear.
Robert Kennedy, thanks for taking a minute. Simple question.
Tucker?
It's good to see you. Listen,
You're a Bitcoin maximalist. You're Bitcoin forever.
I hate this central bank digital currency.
Hey, I don't have all the answers, but together, I know we can find them.
Down in competition and the ratings grab for late night weekend viewers.
Hey everybody, welcome to Rob Nelson Live. Thank you for taking some time to watch. Happy Wednesday. Let's just jump right in. Got a big show for you today. Big show. It's funny when people say that, big show. Like, today I have a bad show for you. Today I have a little show. Every show should be a big show, right? Okay. Pete Hegseth. I love Pete Hegseth. I love that Trump has packed his cabinet with people that never, ever, well, that never would have made it in any other presidency. Now, you know, people on the left, Democrats, not everyone on the left is a Democrat, by the way. I just want to be clear. Lots of people on the left aren't Democrats at all. I got friends who are super progressive. They don't consider themselves Democrats. But let's just say a lot of people on the left, and in particular Democrats, like to say that many of Trump's cabinet appointees weren't qualified for the job. I got to be honest, and I'm someone who worked in Washington for a long time. You know, those of you who know my background, I worked in years ago. I worked in the White House with President Clinton. I wasn't a Democrat. I was an independent, but I still did. And I had a big Gen X political organization, had lots of big politicians on my advisory board, U.S. senators, and former U.S. senator wrote the foreword to my book. Like, I've been in and out of the halls of power a long time. I think the single best criteria is you're not qualified for the job. I actually, in one of these books I wrote called Last Call, it was about common sense solutions to problems that we still have, and we haven't fixed any of them. So much for the common sense department. I said, the idea that I think the founders had was that every man type person should run for office. Now back then they thought it was men, but every man, every woman. I think I think Congress should be made up of more just regular people. Like you're not qualified for the job. Well, first of all, for Congress, qualifications would seem for many people to be that you had lots of other little government positions. You worked your way up, at the local level. That just means you're part of a system. I like that we're starting to have people who come totally from the outside on both sides of the equation. I'm not a big AOC fan, but I'm a big AOC fan. I mean, I'm a big fan of a person like an AOC getting in there, stirring it up. She was a bartender. Good for her. We should have bartenders, strippers, athletes, I don't know, plumbers, you name the job. I don't know, podcasters. Yes, I like the new media in the press room. So going back to where I started with this, Pete Hegseth. Love Pete. Love, again, not qualified. Now, what's the qualification to be a good Secretary of Defense? What do we think? What do we think makes you a good Secretary of Defense? Well, I can tell you what they would say. I think they roll out the resume, right? How does that make you a good Secretary of Defense? What makes a good general? What makes a good general would seem to be experience in the military. Preferably, you'd need to have some combat experience. You'd need to have some management experience. You'd need to have shown you could lead and you worked your way through the ranks in that sense. Well, what makes a good Defense Department secretary? You're the civilian head of a military branch, and you answer to the President of the United States, who is the Commander-in-Chief, whose sole qualification to be Commander-in-Chief is that we, the people, elected that person. That's the single qualification. I mean, there's a few. You have to be, whatever, over a certain age, etc. But I mean, there's no Commander-in-Chief requirement for the president. You don't have to have ever served. You don't have to know anything about the military. You just have to get us to vote for you. The Department of Defense, that person runs the military as a civilian, working with and over generals. Pete Hegseth served in the military. He was, he battle tested, and he's really loyal to it. And he supported and talked about it from a common sense perspective on Fox. So the reason he's a bad Secretary of Defense is he's unqualified, meaning he doesn't have the degrees. He doesn't have the academics. He doesn't say things, he does have academics. I'm not saying he's not well educated. I'm saying, but the reasons he doesn't, he didn't go to war college. I don't know what. I want to know what these qualifications are for all of them. Tulsi Gabbard, not qualified to be the head of DNI. I think she's perfectly qualified. Once again, thank you very much for the no qualification stamp of approval, right? She's a member of Congress. She took a run for the White House, and the DNC literally chopped her off at the knees, at the waist, basically. They went low. When you go high, we go low. They've always gone low. That whole bullshit, when you go low, we go high. Get out of here. Both parties go low, but the Dems go low, and they went low on their own. They took out Bernie Sanders, and they took out Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard's perfectly qualified to run the DNI, and much happier have her in there than some of these guys who've been in there forever, who I don't know what they're up to. The last batch, the last couple times, the last couple rounds, all those people. Crooked, lying, said things weren't real that were real, didn't tell us certain things that were going on, pretended the laptop was Russian information, pretended that there was a Russian collusion going on, and then we now know from emails and various things that they all kind of knew they were lying. Good for them. Good for them. Unqualified. I like it. Who else was unqualified? We're going to get to him in a minute. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Terribly unqualified. Terribly unqualified to lead Health and Human Services. Why? Smarter than every single member of Congress interviewing him. Have you ever talked to him? He's brilliant. And he's so methodical. Why is he unqualified? Because he doesn't like the COVID vaccine. Because he questions vaccine safety overall. It's not anti-vax, but seriously questions vaccine safety. So therefore, he's unqualified. Right. Fauci, now there's a super qualified guy, right? He had all the paperwork. Yep. He had all the paperwork. Yeah. And what did he do with all that paperwork? masks on kids, 6 feet apart. Where did they come up with a stupid 6-foot rule? Seriously, who came up with it? Did someone just arbitrarily go 6 feet sounds good? 6 feet, 4 feet's a little short. 7 seems a stretch and it's an odd number. Let's go with 6. Yeah, and those masks, they're not really necessary. Remember in the beginning? Well, then they were necessary, but they were worried they'd have a supply shortage for critical care. I'll give them a break. They were all trying to figure things out in the beginning, but then they knew masks didn't work. But they go, well, tell everyone to wear them anyway. I remember being in the LA protests, you know, the BLM stuff and videoing. Thousands of people piled on top of each other, piled up on me, wearing cloth masks. And I'm thinking intuitively, how does this cloth mask keep you from spreading a virus? I mean, you can basically spit through it. It's a bandana. Now, maybe high-grade masks made a difference. But even that, I mean, we know the cloth masks didn't work, and we told everyone to wear them, and we told them to stay 6 feet away from one another. And most dangerously, we isolated kids. We isolated the healthiest, strongest part of our population. We literally isolated them, locked them down, kept them from schools, kept them from socializing, masked them up, vaccinated them up. When like 300 kids under 18 in the US died of COVID, and all of them were high risk. All of them were high risk patients going in. That's so low. The flu wipes out so many more. I mean, 300 is horrible, but that's enough over the whole pandemic in the whole United States. Yet we masked up every kid. We vaccinated every kid. We locked them out of schools. We kept them from socializing with friends. We literally destroyed their future. Thank you, Dr. Fauci. Very well qualified. But Kennedy's not qualified. Kennedy was, if you go back and look at Kennedy's work on the environment, remember in the old days, the Republicans hated him. He sued everybody. He sued every administration, Democrats and Republicans. He's literally why we have safe drinking water in a lot of America. You can honestly say RFK Jr. and what he did in his foundation, his nonprofits, did it. He was the leading progressive environmentalist. He's unqualified because he doesn't like vaccines and because he doesn't like the system. And you know what? I was going to do this at the end, but I got wound up in the beginning, so I'm going to just go to it. Here's what he said. This all came up for me because he basically criticized, you know, they've been shuffling and shaking and dumping up people at the CDC, and the media is all in an uproar. He's throwing out all the establishment. So he wrote an op-ed today, and here's what he basically said. He's like, basically, the CDC has been dysfunctional for years. And he said, COVID's one example, but it's not an outlier. It's symptomatic of how this agency operates. Here's what he said. A little of this I already just said too, but it's all intuitive stuff we know. Cloth masks on toddlers, arbitrary 6-foot distancing, boosters for healthy children, prolonged school closings, economy-crushing lockdowns, and this one really gets me, the suppression of low-cost therapeutics in favor of experimental and ineffective drugs. The toll was devastating. And he's absolutely right. Remember the ivermectin thing? You couldn't take ivermectin because it was for horses, and CNN made fun of it, and Dr. Sanjay Gupta, they had their doctors on saying, this is horrible. Like millions of people get ivermectin in third world countries, not for COVID. We give drugs to horses and humans sometimes the same, just in different doses. So no, don't go take a horse grade, veterinarian grade ivermectin. But a little ivermectin early on would have helped you with COVID. It helped me, helped everyone I know who took it. So what he basically said is the trust has collapsed. And here's an interesting statistic he wrote. Only one third, 33% of all healthcare workers participated in the 2023-2024 COVID booster program. 1/3. Only 1/3 signed up to get the booster. The other 2/3 were like, I'm over this one. I bought your lies for a long time, and I spread your lies. I bought them and I spread them. I lived them and I shared them. Done with your lies. Keep your booster. Thank you very much. I'm fine. And only 10% of children under the age of 12 got boosted. Thank you. Thank you, 90% of parents who said, no more, no more. We are not buying it anymore. So Kennedy's point is, they've lost the trust of the American people, and they have. And my point is that most of our government has lost the trust of the American people on all levels. Certainly most members, elected members, although they may have good relationships with their constituents in some cases, have lost the trust as a whole. The institutions, the Senate, the House of Representatives, the Supreme Court, and yes, the administration and the White House, all have lost their trust. I will give Trump credit for in the most crazy way, starting to restore our trust. Yes, by going in like a wrecking ball, a bull in a china shop, and literally shooting up everything and saying the most absurd things and calling people names and doing what Trump does, in doing all Trump crazy. Trump seems to have started to make us think maybe, just maybe, we can trust these guys a little bit, even though we know they all lie to us, and we know Trump's lying too. I do. I don't think, if you're one of the people who believes Trump is like Jesus and he tells only the truth, not that I knew Jesus, but no, he doesn't. Of course he lies. And it's even he plays games to the degree why Bill Maher could go have dinner with him at the White House, through Kid Rock, and they all had a great dinner. And Bill Maher said, I really found myself liking this man, and I didn't want to, but he's none of the things I hate in real life, in person. So we know to some level, Trump, the president, plays a role. Now, there's a real Donald Trump there, and that guy's still there. I'm sure he's still got a narcissist with a massive ego and thinks everything he touches is the greatest. That I'm sure, the greatest of all time. This would be the greatest operation. This is the greatest picture. This is the greatest redecoration. This is the greatest parade. This is the greatest presidency. This is the greatest of every greatest. But he's partly playing a role, but he started to maybe make us trust a little bit just in the authenticity, which brings me to where I actually was going to start with Pete Hegseth. See, I do the Trump weave in my own way, but I'm going to come up with a new name because Trump weaves in a different way. Trump does weave. He kind of, then he comes back. I don't really weave. I kind of orbit. I go around and out and out and out, and then I go right back down in. Yeah, take that however you want. Take that. Metaphorically, any way you want, ladies and gentlemen. Pete Hegseth. Pete got in a little trouble too on the sex stuff, but he got through it all. Again, I like the humanity of the confirmation hearings. This is a quote from Pete Hegseth. Excuse me. It's a new day. It's a different day. And this is an activity the United States is not going to tolerate in our hemisphere. Boom! That comes in with some punch. He's referring to that little boat they shot out of the water. Maybe you saw the video. I go to Belize every year. And to get out to this little island where we stay, in little huts, beautiful little island, beautiful. It's like tropical paradise. But not for those who like fancy spas and resorts. No, I mean, you got a bed and you got a bed and lights and water and a shower, but you're on the beach. You're living. You're swimming, fishing, scuba diving, snorkeling, all of it. Gorgeous. Drinking the bar in the water. It's Jimmy Buffett without Florida. It's this little boat, like a boat we would take out, like a big skiff, like we would take out to the island, carrying out goods and people. And, it has like 11 people in it. And I don't know how long it is, but it can't have been more than 30 feet. Pretty small. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on the size, but you can see the video of it. And it's cutting a good wake. And it's shooting on out there. And you see the guys on the boat, like bouncing along, the narco terrorists I'm referring to. And all of a sudden, poof, the whole thing just goes poof, poof, poof. We droned it. This is the word I'm going to start using. It's not an assault. It's not a missile by a drone. I'm going to call droning it. So when you send a drone in to do something, you droned it. In this case, they droned it to pieces. Precision, landed right on the top of it in the middle of the water. Made me laugh for a couple of reasons. One, the way Pete Hegseth's talking, the Secretary of Defense, you'd sound like he's making a presidential proclamation, like this is the beginning of a new era. This is the beginning of the new American doctrine in our hemisphere. It's Kennedy and Castro before nuclear war. This is like, you little guys, you 12 dudes, you little narco terrorists who hop on your little skiffs and shoot across, bye-bye. We're going to take every single one of you out, and it's going to be the easiest job, man. We're going to have some private in training doing it because this is going to be driving the drones and boom, on you. There you go. Whole little boat gone, all 12 of you. Bye-bye. Venezuela's like minister of something called it artificial intelligence. Wow, these people. It's lame. How dumb do they think we are? It's artificial intelligence. We didn't really get the little narco boat. We just made it up. No, it's possible. We could have made up a video, a fake video. Pretty sure we got the little narco boat. AI, it's kind of a lame thing. Better to be like, you took our boat out and now we're gonna do something. Maduro down there huffing and puffing. That guy's a fake, Maduro, the head of Venezuela, the dictator. And Pete Hegseth was like, no, I watched it live. It wasn't AI. He said, we knew who was in the boat. We knew what they were doing and who they represented. And we're not going to take it anymore. The border, they've shut down traffic. Remember how literally hundreds of thousands of people were pouring over the wall we didn't need, through the fences, underneath, around, everywhere. And there was no crisis, and the media ignored the crisis forever, pretended this is not happening. This is not happening. You're not seeing what your eyes tell you is not true. That's what they did with COVID. That's what they did with the border. That's what they did with Biden's age. It's what government's done forever. I mean, it's not just Democrats that do it, but the last administration, the Biden administration, they went all in, and the media went all in with them. Don't believe what you see. Crime is not high. Prices are not up. The vaccine works. Masks work. Your kids are safer. And the border's fine. Well, wow, suddenly there's not a lot of border crossings. It's pretty remarkable. Now, I have a problem with the throwing everybody out thing. Like how the little ghost keeps popping up on me. I have a problem with that. I don't have a problem going after the criminals. I don't have a problem going after people who are, who are breaking the rules. I mean, the actual rules once they're here. But the argument, well, they broke the rule to get here, now they all go. It's just not reasonable. There's people who've been here for a long, long time. There's people who have raised families here. They're productive parts of their community. I mean, I worked with kids in LA in a really innovative public charter school. So public school, but it was a charter school, so the kids could actually apply to it. They weren't picked on merit. They were picked on first come, first serve because it's a public school. But it was an accelerated. It was a school that, project-based learning. So the kids worked in teams, worked together, created, and learned that way rather than droned lectures, old school like we got, and most kids are still getting, and soon will be irrelevant because of AI. But I digress. Deorbit. They were amazing kids, and they were, now, since a lot of those kids are now in their late 20s, and they're productive members of society. They were called the Dreamers. They were born here. They didn't come over the border. Their parents did, or one of their parents. We can't throw everybody out. But we wouldn't be facing this problem if the Democrats and the Biden administration hadn't pretended there wasn't a problem as millions of people flooded in, taking over, making cities dirtier, more crime-ridden, making the residents who live in those cities who are struggling, those who are lower income, particularly go, wait, why are you getting subsidies? Why are you getting money to live on? Why are you getting places to stay? I'm not, and I've lived here my whole life. And then some of them went the extra step and go, and before that, my great-grandfather was a slave, so F you twice. Like, why do these people get it? And if you ask most people who came here illegally, they don't want more people to come illegally either. So they messed it up, and now we got a problem, and now there's a backlash, and everybody wants to throw everybody out. Well, that's not going to happen. But I do think we're seeing situations get cleaned up. I talked about the crime thing the other day. DC's crime going down the last 20 days. People are happier. Chicago better get on the boat. Trump's sending the National Guard either way. It's coming, So just on the Pete Hegseth thing, you can call this the Pete Hegseth hour. Wasn't meant to be half hour. The Army has a program called the Command Assessment Program. It's called CAP. A nice acronym. I never knew about this. Maybe some of you did. Command Assessment Program is a promotion board that factors psychological assessments and potential biases into leadership considerations. So, okay, let's go over that. It factored psychological assessments and potential biases into leadership considerations. I don't even know what the second thing means. I mean, but the reason I'm bringing this up is because they killed it, and apparently nobody wanted to be part of it. Go figure. They wanted merit and performance in the military. Might be thinking that's the best way to save my ass. I don't really want somebody doing something because of diversity. I want to make sure they can do the job, because otherwise I die and I want to go home. Like, it's that simple. Or my friends die. Or my country gets fucked. Like one of the three. What does potential biases mean? They factor in if you have biases, or if there's a bias in choosing you. Like, if you're a white guy, is there a bias to choose a white man? Or is it the white guy has a bias in certain ways, so we don't pick him? I don't even know what it means. That's how ridiculous some of this woke ideology is. So my last thing for Pete Hegseth before I move on with my last few minutes, he said, good riddance. And now it's only merit and performance from now on. Woo-hoo-hoo! I love it. I got so much to go over, but I'm not going to have time. So I'm going to do a couple things here. I couldn't help noticing squad member Rep. Tlaib, Rashida Tlaib, Democrat from Michigan, the only Palestinian member of Congress. And, Michigan has a huge Palestinian population, big Arab population, big Palestinian population too. She said, I want to say to all of, in a speech, she was at a speech for it was called when I wrote it down, the Palestinian, I don't know, it was the Palestinian Peace Day, Palestinian People's Conference for Palestine, 3 Ps. I want to say to all of them, every genocide enabler, look at this room, motherfuckers. We ain't going anywhere. What's with everybody throwing the F-bomb out, which I did, so I'm guilty. Guilty as charged. No, but it's become the new thing. I'd like to say people like me were the trendsetters. We started saying it first. I said the F word on national television numerous times when I had my talk show at Fox and Fox News. I'd get bleeped, but I would still say it. Now politicians like to say it. It's the new thing. Call people the F word. They specifically like to call people the name, to tell someone to go F themselves. It's not saying, it's not using it as an adjective like it's a messed up situation. It's a way to describe somebody. And let me tell you, Donald Trump, go F yourself. Woo, I'm so tough. I don't know. Anyway, she went on, and she said they thought they could rape us, kill us, uproot us, starve us to death. Well, guess what? We're in Congress and we're in every corner of the United States. We are just getting started. Sounds like fighting words to me. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with the speech. Can you imagine if that was coming from a white conservative? Oh, they'd say this is inciting violence, and any violence that ensues from there is the Congresswoman's fault. No, it's not. And she's not literally telling people to raise up in arms, although she kind of is. She's pretty darn close. Like, she's pretty close. And then she said the political structures that she has to work in, meaning Congress and all that, and are surrounded by, were built on slavery, genocide, rape, and oppression. So there you go. She loves America. I do think a lot of our institutions were built on slavery and some genocide, Native American. There was a little rape and oppression going on in there too the whole way. Yep. Go find me a society that wasn't. Oh, the Arab people, those were built on love and kindness. I see. There was never rape or oppression. There was never genocide. There was never slavery. Are you kidding me? It's been all over the world for all time. Yes, we did it too. I'm not proud of those things we did, but I think we've come a long way in owning them, answering for them, and even still trying to undo the damage, because we did some real damage with it. But we as a society are not the same people that did those things a long time ago, nor is anybody else in their society responsible for the Greeks for what they did back in old Greek days, back in the Roman Emperor days. You're just not. It's a stupid argument. Then tear every single thing down. And by the way, the Indians did bad things too to people, so tear them down too. And the warring tribes that warred against each other and took each other up, take them all down, throw them all out. It's such a ridiculous way. Well, here's the best part of it. She finishes with, what our government is willing to do to Palestinians, they are willing to do to all of you. Well, there you go. So everybody go home tonight and know that the U.S. government is coming after you, just like Israel and Gaza. I'm not going down the Israel-Gaza thing tonight. I only have a couple minutes left. It is complicated, I will say that. And I will say this, Hamas, you should have never done October 7th. You opened the biggest can of whoop ass you ever wanted to open when you sent your people in to Israel, to music festivals, raped, tortured, all the things she's talking about, brutalized, murdered, butchered thousands of people. You literally asked for something that you're now paying for right up to the end. Okay, I got just enough time for this. Xi Jinping does a military parade in China, and he calls it the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation is unstoppable. China's on the move, folks. They're in the march. Gave a big spectacle, 80th anniversary of Japan surrendering in World War II. That's just an excuse. Parading the troops out, what is that called where they do the step, high stepping, goose stepping, whatever. He has said 2027 that'll be the 100th anniversary of the People's Liberation Army, 100 years. That is the deadline for military modernization, according to Xi Jinping. Well, you know what that means? That means that's the deadline for when they invade Taiwan. That's what I think military modernization means. It means that's when we complete it and we reunite China. Get ready, everybody. They're going for it. And they have an intercontinental ballistic missile now that can travel to the US. Okay. They got a hypersonic missile that can go faster than our air defense systems. They've got stealth drones, cyber and space capabilities. They got a lot going on there. They're cooking up a storm, and it ain't COVID. And who was there watching? Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un. There's the three dictators. What I love, this is what I mean about authenticity and why there's something about Trump that's restoring at least my faith in all of this. This is what Trump says on Truth Social, of course. This is a quote. Please give my warmest, this is to Xi Jinping, the president of China. Please give my warmest regards to Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un as you conspire against the United States of America. That's classic. Please give my warmest regards to the other two dictators with you as you together conspire against us. And I'm not saying it, but you don't want to really be doing that. But you are, and I'm going to make you pay for it somehow. And you know what? He very, very well might. All right. I am just about out of time, but one more thing I can't resist with Trump and the authenticity and restoring my faith. Trump, the Face the Nation host, Margaret Brennan, I'm not a huge fan. I just think she's so biased. And she went after Marco Rubio the other day when he was on about how when Zelensky came to the White House and the European leaders came with him and how they came to protect him from Trump's abusive wrath. And Marco Rubio's like, this is a dumb narrative. We've been working with the Europeans. We've been working with Zelensky. We went to meet once with Putin. And the European leaders are here because we invited them to be part of this and to help us all solve this problem. It's a collective problem, not because they came to give Zelensky some moral support and be like, don't bully him. And she just wouldn't stop. So anyway, this is the part that's funny though. Trump is with Carolyn Levitt at something, and he says, classic Trump, the woman on the Face the Nation is so bad. That's Trump quote. That's what he says. He looks at his press secretary, Carolyn Levitt, and says, what do you think? And this is where Carolyn Levitt and the Trump administration, because remember, Carolyn Levitt's the most unqualified person either, unlike the binder and circle back Jen Psaki. She just goes right out and says, she's stupid. You can put that on record. I love it. What do you think of her? She's stupid. And please, everybody, write it down and say I said it. And Trump looks back at her and go, yeah, she's really nasty. You just can't make this up. And on that note, everybody, happy Wednesday night. I will see you Friday. It's Rob Nelson. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it.
Meet Rob Nelson, talk show host.
Because you got the 70s thing going there. I got someone's underwear.
Robert Kennedy, thanks for taking a minute. Simple question.
Tucker, it's good to see you. Listen, if you're a Bitcoin maximalist, you're Bitcoin forever. I hate this central bank digital currency.
Hey, I don't have all the answers, but together, I know we can find them.
Down in competition in the ratings tab.